Hello, and welcome to the fourth podcast of Weekly Wolverine. Today, we're here with the esports coach, Jedidiah. Would you like to tell us about yourself?
Absolutely. I'm Jedidiah Kasson. I work here at Vian, primarily IT director. However, a few years ago, I took up the role of coach.
So, what's your coaching style? Are you the hype up the team type or chill strategic?
A little bit of both. I try to be mostly laid back because within esports, it's a little bit different from sports. Traditional sports, it's a lot of coach driven. The coach is on every day, he's pushing you. But in esports, it comes down to the player. Coach can't do very much aside from, provide guidance, help, a little bit of motivation. Yeah. The chill and strategic part of it is letting the players drive forward and devising their own strategies with providing help. I just provide them a direction to drive. They go from, but also when day, I'm there to be the hype man. A lot of times, players when they make a good hit, get a good stock, they're looking at. I've got to be there to help validate them as the hype, get them excited during that match.
For those not deep into the gaming scene, could you break down the game essentially for us?
Smash Bros, Super Smash Bros in particular, has remained pretty much the same over the years. So many players get on a stage. Goal is to knock the other players off the stage.
When you're working with players, how do you bring out their A game? Any funny stories or quirky strategies that helped you win a game?
Actually, yes. One of my varsity, an S tier character, Joker, down to a D tier. Now, those tiers are generally fluid, but what that means is the community considers an S tier character to be great, almost the best. Well, actually, yes. Whereas a D tier is the worst of the worst. So we had a student go from Joker, an S tier character, down to Little Mac, a D tier character, considered to literally be among the bottom 5 characters. And he's gone almost undefeated this entire season as a result of that. None of us saw it coming. Probably because nobody knows how to play against such an aggressive little. Uh, that is my assumption. Maybe we've also seen some King K rules out there as well, doing very well. That Little Mac player in particular, Landon, also does have King K rule in his pocket that he can use to win some of them.
So they really just don't expect such a low level character to be.
I think so. Everybody considers Little Mac to be, because you get Little Mac off the stage. Little Mac excels at the ground game, but you get him in the air, he doesn't have spike. He has no ground or air control whatsoever. He has among the worst recoveries in the game, if not very worst. And you don't see him very much in a context. And I think what happens is competitive players don't see enough to learn how to. So you can essentially take your opponent by surprise.
How do you go about dissecting plays and finding areas to level up? Any analogies or simple terms you use to break it down for the team?
There are so many differences in characters and stages and matchups that there's no single for individual characters. Take Lucario, for instance. Raylee Fry chose Lucario as his. Lucario is not considered a great character, but he does have some strengths. Specifically, he needs to be played like an anime protagonist. Lucario can be put on the ropes. He can be moments from defeat at any given time, but he can easily reverse a match because the more damage he takes, the stronger he gets. So there are absolutely matches I competitive play where Lucario can be 150%. He can be literally a single tilt attack away from defeat, but he can reverse that 3. Likewise, characters like Violet are very slow. They're hard hitters, and I've had to tell some students you need to play as them or against them, sort of like you would a Dark Souls. They're slow, their attacks are telegraphed, so you need to be thinking several steps ahead to be able to get the advantage against them.
How do you hype up the crew during a nail biting match? And how do you keep the vibe positive even when things get a bit messy?
During nail biting matches, especially, it's important to not overhype. You need your player to have their head in the game because it's such a fast-paced situation. But still, when there's a little bit of downtime, if your player gets a good KO on their opponent, there's a few seconds between. That's the time. Here, essentially, give them a good hit, something like that. Keep up their motivation, keep up their energy. keep them focused. Even when things get messy, it's important to congratulate your players, reward them, say something every time they. It doesn't matter if they're losing or not, but if they're on the ropes, celebrate the little thing, a good hit, a good count, anything that, even if they lose. I always tell students, and I mean it with the fullest extent of heart, you did well just fine. Even if you lost, every loss is a chance for victory in the learning experience. Sit in the chair, to grab the controller, and to play, that takes a lot of courage, especially in front of all of your teammates. I've struggled with that in the past, so I totally, just that enough is enough. Very proud.
So, would you say that most of the hyping and positivity comes between, before, and after matches then?
Mostly, yes. There's a lot of congratulatory talk, especially after a game. If we're winning very well, especially against opponent with, there is a lot of hype during, a lot of cheering. We've had the entire room get a good. For instance, in Roy was struggling very hard against character for the whole set, and it was close, very close. The moment he managed to land a lucky, not even a lucky, he managed to outmaneuver his opponent so precisely to get a great back air for the defeat. The whole room just erupted.
Esports moves fast. How do you keep up with the trends and changes, and can you spill the beans on a time when you had to switch things up on the fly?
Right, it changes so quickly. The meta with Smash Ultimate, we've been lucky in far as it's a little bit older. It's a few years older, so the meta has kind of solidified over that time. The game's updated, but even then, things still change. So I'm constantly looking at gameplay videos, competitive gameplay, keeping up on professional players, especially like some of the better ones, seeing what they're saying, watching what they're doing, and using that information to kind of improve play, or at least guide my students in the correct direction. Obviously, my players, for the most part, are not going to be playing on the level any of the top level, but we can still see. Likewise, we've had. It was actually recently, a couple of weeks ago, one of our players was playing Joker against Terry, and the thing about Terry is he excels in the ground, much like Little Mac. But Terry actually has. He's a higher tier character. Our Joker was getting pretty thrashed, and after we lost games, I told my students, "Hey, I'm seeing that you're not doing a lot of stage combat. Terry does not have a lot of air. He's pretty weak." Told him, "Get off of stage, get out there, and challenge him off of in the air." And the next game, it was pretty clean.
Setting goals sounds official. How do you do it in a way that keeps the team motivated, and can you share a victory dance worthy moment when the team won a match?
Goals are difficult, especially as I mentioned earlier. A lot of the motivation is self-motivation. At the very least, I always tell my making the playoffs, we get pizza. As far as hype-worthy moments, a big moment, that was definitely very close. Like I said, the whole room with that good back air on that character was. Those moments, that's really the goal for them. Is that big, is that hype, is for everybody to pop off the chairs, and that is a reward enough. Winning is.
Everyone loves to win, and everyone loves snacks as well.
Very true. Very true.
How do you make sure your players are in tip-top mental and physical shape?
Burnout is a real issue with the program, and of course, they're teenagers. They wake up very early in the morning. Their eating habits is often not very good. A lot of them don't get enough exercise. That's just a life. That's just the life of being. So I'd like to tell them, sleep a reasonable amount. Don't go eating a bunch of junk food, because your physical health is also directly tied to your mental. If you are not in good physical form, you're not going to be in good mental. From there, it's a lot of, everybody has problems in their life, especially at that age, and I cannot break up or a home issue. There's nothing I can do that. So when they step into the room, I try my hardest to get it to where they're not thinking. I want them to be thinking about what's in the match, the game at that moment. For the most part, it works a lot. From there, it's celebrating every win, consoling players when they lose, because it is rough.
Okay, well, thank you for coming, Jedidiah. It's been nice talking to you and getting
nice
the
here.
inside scoop of being an esports coach.
Happy to help.
I would like to thank the viewers for watching. And this has been Weekly Wolverine, and if you join us next time on episode 5, we will be talking about band and choir activities.